Yo, what's going on, guys? Jay Daniel here. Today I have a guest who needs no introduction, but he's going to introduce himself anyway. Here we got Luke. Tell us a little
We
bit about
got
yourself.
the one and only crazy, crazy man that used to work with you over at Sales Mentor. I'm doing fantastic. I guess before we start off this call, I'm kidding. I'm just BSing. But yeah, my name is Luke Vonhollen. Right now, currently freelancing and as a closer, uh, moving into MLO Pro Nation with them as a closing position. And then before that, though, I was working with Jay Daniels, got associated with him over at Sales Mentor before switching governments and going over to traffic and funnels, and then completely leaving that country and testing out the international waters of freelancing. Now I have landed on the solid island of a 3K offer. So I'm closing for that for loan officers. That's what my life looks like right about now. So, yeah.
That's Luke. And so as far as so a lot of people, right? It's like, hey, how do I get hired? How do I get a client? How does that work? You got any tips? Any networking tips? Any tips for the average individual on that process?
Yeah. And like going from that too, like, first off, regulate inputs of who you're taking advice from. I want that to be stressed first because more than likely, if you're listening to a guy who has only closed for his own business and is only in a B2B space for his own business and selling his own services, it's a lot different than me, an independent closer looking to sell a package for a company, that's already scaled. So you got to regulate your inputs on who you're taking advice from on that. Background on me so that you know your input before you take any information from me so that you can feel a little bit more comfortable, you the viewer. My name's Luke. Obviously, I networked to get the sales mentor position. I provided value. I use my own things that I teach from myself whenever I do a mastermind call or anything, or provide any value to new closers that I think are applicable for it. I did freelancing. I did closing here. I did closing there. I did appointment setting here. I did appointment setting there. I really struggled after my time at TNF. I fought and I was sleeping on my best friend's floor before moving in now into a 2-bedroom apartment. So it's a success story in the making. We got bigger things to accomplish. So just so you know your input, I just wanted you to know that as the viewer. Going from that, when it comes to tips with networking, outreach, and painting a better picture of just the whole industry. First off, I want you to get specific about what the F you want. Okay. You're in the sales game. You're not a closer. You're not anything. Take a look at it objectively. You're in the sales game. You're not going to close every deal you get on. It's fine. So going from that to you're in the sales game, there's niches. Okay, what niche do you want to serve? I'm a professional jiu-jitsu athlete. I think I do fantastic in the fitness game. So how can I get better and figure out who to network with and who to outreach to? Of course, your network's going to grow and grow 5 times exponentially once you get better at your outreach and providing value to people. We'll dive more into that in a second. Networking, though, you want to be able to really see who's the top guy within your network. Like if I'm in fitness, let's do who's a big Conor McGregor, athletes, MMA fighter. He's my top dog. Second guy, oh yeah, dude, you know it. Big old Irish guns over here slanging them, dude. My second guy on that pyramid is like, Max Holloway's. We got our Max Holloway's. Our top guys are Conor McGregor's. Our bottom guys are our Jake Pauls. Of course, though, I'm just
The
joking.
bottom guy.
I'm being honest, man. I watched those boxing
I
videos
think
of.
the bottom guy is Nate Robinson right now, man. But continue.
Oh yeah, well he
I'm just
hit the
kidding. I love
bottom.
Nate. Yeah.
No, second
Uh,
level is Jake Paul. Actually, no, second level is Logan Paul. But get what I'm saying. You want to have a top guy initiated, and you want to recognize who's in the middle, who's towards the top, who's at the bottom. How can you recognize that? Okay, look at a multitude of factors from each employer you talk to or any job offer you see. Look at their package price. Look at if you're cold calling. Look at if it's inbound leads. Look at your commission structure. Look at who's running it and their track record, okay, of success with their clients. Lastly, I really like to dig in if it's a closer or setter position. Okay. Of course, if they're just hiring a closer, but you got to do cold calling, like there's a multitude of other factors with the 5 things I just gave you. So really use that to define who you put and where you put them in your pyramid. And of course, define what you want. Now, outreach. When it comes to networking and outreach, we want to be able to spark engagement off the bat. We want to be able to convey emotions of positivity within the person we're outreaching to about a job opportunity. I'm at a level, my network is so deep that I'm now starting to monetize it. Okay. I went through a very vast amount of time where I networked with people, and I believe karma is real because of this. I networked with people and was able to give them great results, getting them to connect with job opportunities, giving them tips to how to get better at this so that they can get connected with the right job opportunity, sending them over to the right person for that. I was able to do that. And because of karma is a real thing in the sales games, ladies and gentlemen. Same thing with life in general. Okay. Good things happen to those who do good things for others. Okay. So now I'm at a place where I can monetize by referring businesses to recruiting. That's more advanced stuff though. But yeah, getting into place for that networking strategy and that outreach, you want to convey emotions when outreaching to a client, outreaching to a possible company. You want to convey those emotions in an intelligent manner too, and you want to set yourself apart from everybody else. 3 key emotions: curiosity, interest. I haven't thought this one out too much, but there's 3: curiosity, interest, and then problem solver. I think that's the best way to go about those. Curiosity, okay, like let's say you're going to reach out to an employer. Okay, start with a engaging question. Start with an attractive question. Attractiveness is key too in the sales game. Let's say if you see a job post on Facebook, okay, if you see a whole bunch of comments where it says DM interested, DM I'm interested, so much like of people just giving up, it's really easy to stand out to what they're probably going to get in their inbox. I'm just letting you know that right now. So you do have a little bit of an advantage. But comment, like I would comment my sales experience. Hey, I generated 79K in revenue in 2 weeks through an outbound triage process. I just sent you a DM. Would love to talk more about the opportunity. I'm not trying to show that I need the opportunity. I'm just showing that, hey, I'd love to talk more. I'm not showing that I'm interested too in a way, which could probably play to a disbeneficial factor, but it's a very nonchalant way. Going from that, I'm then going to hit that inbox and I'm going to say, hey, are you looking to take on more high-paying clients with help from an experienced sales rep? Because I'm experienced. If you're not experienced, you're going to have a little bit different way of doing this. Hungry sales rep is a good way to go. Just 1 minute liner. But yeah, and that actually got me a solid position with a Denver marketing agency. I had an $800 closing offer that I didn't take because I decided to go to Sales Mentor. But I met Jay because of it, so it's okay. But going from that, man. So that first
stories there. Go ahead,
dude. We got a lot of backstory, but yeah, I'm just trying to get to the point, try to provide as much value. But going from there, it's like, are you looking to take on more high-paying clients with experienced sales rep? Obviously, they're going to say yes. If they're saying no, you don't want to work with them in the first place. That's stupid, And then the second question is like, oh, like what top qualities are you looking for within a top sales rep? Like what qualities do your top sales reps provide now? Like how much more in revenue do you want to generate a month? Hey, like we want to generate 1 million before the end of August. We want to see someone who's coachable, hungry, explosive, is a master of rapport. We want to see someone with 25 years of sales experience. You can just kind of dictate what exactly they're looking for. Now, going from that too, like I don't want to sound scripted. I don't want to sound like I'm just copy pasting some stuff that's like more elegant than what everyone in IBC is saying or any other program out there. After they tell me like what qualities, how much revenue they want to generate or anything like that, after that second question, I'm just going to be like, oh, well, perfect. I think I possess some of those qualities. Oh, I think that quite possibly you have the capabilities to get to that revenue per month, but like, what are your biggest problems right now that you're experiencing within your business? And I think I can be more specific and break it down. What problems are you experiencing within your sales team, and don't ask how can I best help you? Show them that in the interview that you're going to get after you use that strategy.
All right, so let's break this down for a second. So just so everybody can understand. So like one of the most important things, and correct me if I'm wrong, one of the most important things when it comes to this process, and this is if you have some experience, this is if you have some kind of experience, but one of the most important things is it isn't, notice he didn't say, hey, I'm a closer, hire me, hey, hire me, hey, hire me, me. Like, notice he didn't do that. He
Yeah. We're having fun, man. Continue.
Yeah. No, he literally engaged them like a human being, like a person. He engaged them, right? He engaged them, started a conversation, kind of leaned out, but not leaned out too far, right? Not leaning in too far either. Like he's just, hey, like this, I have a solution to what could be your problem. Let's talk about it. He got into the conversation to quick questions to qualify them in the inbox, and he transitioned to the interview. These are conversations, and it's not something you should be overthinking. The whole job system in the US where people think it's so hard to get a job because employers don't want to have me. It's not true. If you have a friend who's an employer, you'll never be without a job. So I just want to correct that mindset up front. Like, it's not that hard to get a job. You just have to know people. And Luke is teaching you how to know people so you never feel like you can't get a job. Your problem is going to be, I have too many opportunities. What the fuck do I do? That's what we're looking for. All right, continue.
Yeah. That also going from that too, like there's tons of opportunities as there as a closer, as an SDR, as a setter, as a triage caller, cold caller, whatever you want to say. But you want to be picky to an extent, of course, going out in your job search. Now, I'm not saying never take an appointment setting position. Dude, you got to earn your stripes somewhere. Let's just make that clear. I was an appointment setter, yeah, for a short bit of time, and now I'm a closer with inbound leads. But I don't have nearly as much leverage in the industry, which is something that's going to be your lifeline if you ever, like, let's say if my closing, let's say, okay, so there, let's just say theoretically, me and Jay both, like, you know, sales mentor, everything explodes. Nashville just is completely non-existent tomorrow. Okay, like it's nothing. Like it's just like, oh, we just had entire state turned to water. Okay, let's say that just happened. Our Jay Daniels' office is gone. Nobody knows what happened. Exactly. Just like that water bottle. That was a good representation of an entire state going into Atlantis. But let's just say that Nashville goes to that. So Jay Daniels out of a job, and let's say theoretically I was working at Sales Mentor back then, and we both get this job with MLO Pro Nation, okay, which is what I'm closing right now for loan officers. Now I generated 79K within 2 weeks through an outbound triage process, which is very good on paper. Like when I say that to employers, it's like, dude, you generate at a 45% close rate too. Like, you know, they're like, what? Like they tune in. But Jay has more leverage. Let's say me and Jay go into the same interview. Jay has more leverage because Jay can say, oh, I generated 600K within 5 months, consistently putting up 120K in revenue at a 35% close rate. Who do you think they're going to hire? Jay. Now, the thing is, though, that I can outdo Jay next to no in none scenario if I am not skilled with my interview strategy. Now, let's say that me and Jay go both into that same interview. Jay can get the job easy right off the bat just by his experience alone. Jay can also be the most boring person on that interview after he says that one-liner pitch and then ask some mildly BS non-engaging questions. So that's his only fighting chance, is that he asked the questions and that he was just kind of a bland guy. But I go in and I say my experience and I use my own interview strategy too, that I've very much taken pre-qualifications for. Not pre-qualification, pre-actions to make. I'm not sure. I've made sure to prepare for the interview like you all should be doing first off if you ever are getting an interview, no matter what. But I
Let's
go in with a strategy.
let's pause real quick. Let's talk
Go
about
for it,
that.
brother. Yeah, dude.
Preparing for an interview. Who would ever have thought? What does that look like? Tell us the strategy. People, this is seriously like
This is something that's common, dude. It's very common. Like we're not trying to badmouth you guys if anybody is doing this, but it's just so common that I see closers hit my inbox like, "Hey, give me some tips on networking." And I'll respond. With like, "Why?" I'll respond with like the same amount of energy that they just throw at me. It's like, dude, like come at me with some value, come at me with something engaging, come at me with something interesting. I had a guy named Sam. I just did a free mastermind with him, actually. Like literally for an hour and a half, me and this kid were just going at it. Like I was diving in on strategies about interviewing, networking. We also went over, I had a job position right now I'm looking to fulfill for someone I networked with and form a long strategic partnership with, and I want him as a closer for them. Of course, I am open to more avenues with that. But that kid, Sam, I also sent him over free training from Seven Figure Selling Academy too. I'm also going to send him over some other free training too. But that kid was able to convey an emotion within me, have an engagement with me. And he just asked me, like, simply by starting up, he was like, "Hey, Luke, I saw you're an admin with a high ticket current opportunity group. I'm also a new closer to the game. I'm looking to gain more knowledge." And he was kind of upfront. And like that first part was like, oh, like this kid's just going to ask me for a job or something. But he said knowledge, which kind of like, I like that. I like a guy who can pursue knowledge. That sparked curiosity within me. He was like, do you have any tips on like how I should do networking right now? He didn't approach me like that. He didn't say, do you have any tips with like he didn't ask me anything about networking. He just asked me, oh, like, like, how are you able to do over a traffic and funnels and sales mentor? Like, he asked me that. He asked me like a result-based question. And I was like, oh, I did 79K within 2 weeks through an outbound process. Good to meet you, Sam. Like, how you doing? And then we just had a civil conversation from there. And now we had a mastermind session. I'm going to hook him up with a real estate job, flipping like 10K to 80K deals at 10%. And yeah, man. So that kid's got value from that. So think about that. Let's think about that real quick. Anybody watching this who's not doing what we are saying you're doing, you could be like Sam. You can get connected with the right person at the right time on the other side of that phone that you're texting with and copy pasting with. If you stand out, spark some engagement, bring some value, and show some coachability, show attractiveness, But yeah, man, that's just something I want to stress very importantly. Interview strategy, we were going to break that down. Yeah, man. So preparing for an interview, there's some key elements in that. Number one, have a list of questions ready and don't make them some generic questions. Please, for the love of crap, what are the top qualities you are looking for within your top sales rep? Like, yeah, like that's a good question, but you already asked that too. How can you make that question stand out? Oh, so in a top performer, what are you guys looking for? Even just switching up the words, that's all it took. Just switching up the words, and it doesn't sound like, oh, what top qualities are you looking for within a top performer? Like like as soon as I switch those words, that's a big thing. Another big thing is having a list of responses to every worst case scenario question they can throw at you. What do I mean by that? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? You can think of the basic level questions. Why should we hire you with no experience? Why should we hire you with no experience? You can cost us money. Like, what is your background in sales? Think back to something that you had to do for sales. Just be like, well, I was the #1 Boy Scout when it came to selling popcorn door to door for 18 years in a row in the entire state of Iowa. Like, think of something. And I don't have prepared questions for that because this was impromptu, completely off the bat. We just literally got this idea. So I can give more value probably in another segment of content, but have a list ready of responses, because having that list ready of responses on the very base level alone, like that's super important for an interview, because that's super important because it shows confidence. And that's a subconscious thought that you have to have. Now we're touching on conscious thoughts, or like the outside level, like, oh, how they're reacting to the questions. You give a fast response fast and precise. Make sure that your response, that you can say it right off the tip of your tongue in a very precise manner in your own wording that doesn't sound like you just wrote it down. That's all you got to do for a response to the question. You can have it be honest, but if it's your greatest weakness, you got to make it sound good, and you have to sell yourself, people. We're in sales. So
I wanna add something to that
Go
first
for it,
part
brother.
too.
Go for it, brother.
Guys, you want to make your questions as effective as possible. You also want to know who you're talking to. So like customization. Did you know that just having somebody's name in a message increases the percentage of people that are going to open it, the people that are going to be receptive to it? Like if you research the company and you see on their website that they value leadership, hey, I know on your website you said you value leadership, but tell me the truth. Like what are you really looking for in a top performer? Like if you
It's even
can
better.
dude, you're showing that you are an effective salesperson who not only does their research but is committed to growth. But everybody tells a recruiter, "Hey, I'm awesome." Nobody's showing it. If you just show it, you're at a totally different level. This one guy, like, and I mentioned this in another video. This guy, JD, me and Luke both know him. Like, I reached out to him. We were talking, and the guy was like, he just completely rejected me. He's like, "Nope, I'm not talking to you." And I was like, "Fine," and I walked away pissed. And then he's like, "Hey, wait, stop, come back 1 second." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "I was just messing with you. I was testing you, and you failed. What could I do better?" Right? You gave me some advice. 2 weeks later, I came back. "Hey, I did everything you told me. I'm doing this." Bam. There's a relationship there now. There's money. Like just really think about what they value, and that's going to put you in a position to leverage with your questions. So just show, don't tell. All right. Now continue.
That's not good, man. Yeah, no, me and JD are been connected since day one too, man. That one is that's my guy. Head forth. We made good money together. Not insane money together, but we'll make even better money together coming into the new year.
You guys will meet JD soon.
Dude, high ticket current opportunities, man. High ticket current opportunities group. We have a lovely background that has lime green keyboards on it. I'm kidding. But yeah, no, join that Facebook group, guys. We got some good content that we're trying to pump out in there too. Yeah, going from that too, man. You got to do that's all. That's like two of the big things. The questions, like you got to have a planned response and you have to have a planned question. You also have to make sure that you do research about the company. I was doing this really huge interview for like IO Consultorium. I looked up the founders' names and I was going to ask them a question containing, like, I was going to ask, hey, like, if I can just level with you real quick, Tracy, because the interview lady was Tracy. I was like, hey, Tracy, so when Ben, John, and Tim started this company, what was the vision in mind? Like that was a good question. Was that the one interview out of 30 that I nailed in a row that I ended up not hearing back from until 2 months later when they told me they just rejected me? Yes. But was that still probably the best part about that interview? Absolutely. And was that after a week in the accelerator? Yeah. This isn't hard, guys. This is an interview. This is outreaching for a job. You don't go into a Chipotle and say, I'm the best at burrito wrapping. Give me a job now. Like, you're not reaching out like, I just bought a $97 course that taught me how to wrap the best burrito. Get me on Salsa right now. Salsa is the guy that wraps your burrito. I know that from manager experience. Like, guys, you gotta be smart. You gotta outstretch your resource. You gotta allocate resources correctly if you're broke right now, because there's probably some of you that are struggling. A lot of guys in the IBC I see like that. Allocate resources accordingly. Reverse engineer your plan, connect with the right people, and plan and execute. But yeah, man, interview strategies. I guess those are the biggest things, man. That's probably the biggest thing.
Yeah, it's a huge deal, and it's show, don't tell. It's those who fail to prepare are preparing to fail. You just
100%.